Hello everybody, I'm Chris Bottger and welcome back to another album review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Grateful Dead's debut album, 1967's The Grateful Dead. For some reason my brain has this album logged as The Golden Road, which is the full song on it, but it's not actually that, it's actually self-titled. I don't know why I always get the name wrong. At this point in their history, the Grateful Dead's lineup comprises of Jerry Garcia on lead guitar, Bob Weir on rhythm guitar, Phil Lesh on bass, and Bill Kreutzmann on drums. They would all be members of Grateful Dead through the end of their original run. In addition to them, we also have founding member Ron McKernan, better known as Pigpen on harmonica and organ. He would be a staple of early Dead albums, but would sadly die shortly after retiring from the band in the early 70s. Pigpen's organ is probably the single most prominent element of the Dead sound on this album, so it's especially important to note his presence here. Now, other than that, and just saying who's in the band at this point, there isn't too much I really want to say before going on to the song-by-song breakdown. If you know who the Grateful Dead are, you probably know what kind of music they play. Folk, country, and blues, all delivered by highly proficient musicians in a jam style. The Golden Road, to Unlimited Devotion, is a great first track to introduce the band. Phil Lesh's great bass line, Pigpen's organ, the guitar solo, all will standout elements of the song. The whole song has a great feel-good vibe to it. Even the lyrics have a sort of hippie stoner party feel to them. The calm response vocals from the chorus also help emphasize this. The Golden Road is a first great Grateful Dead song, and is their first song on their first album. You know what that means. They knocked out of the park on the first try. Beat It On Down the Line is a good up-tempo rock song sung by Bob Weir. Weir's voice is better suited to these older-sounding rock songs, whereas Jerry Garcia is better at the folk and blues stuff. It's about a guy who keeps going down the line in the hopes that his fortunes will change. It's a pretty standard theme, but it works well enough here. I don't have much to note about this one's backing, but it's delivered with the Dead's usual top-notch musicianship and flair. It's a solid album track. The next song is Good Morning Little Schoolgirl. That's a rather yikes name for a song, and the lyrics aren't any better. At least it's a cover of an older blues song by Sonny Boy Williamson that doesn't really make a song any better, but at least it's not something the Dead cooked up on their own. This song also has Pigpen on vocals, but I don't really have anything to say about his vocals. I mean, they're not good, they're not bad. I mean, I guess they're appropriate for the song, but I just don't have much to say there. The only really positive thing I have to say about this song is that I do like Pigpen's harmonica playing on it. Grateful Dead pretty much always give a good delivery, no matter what song they're playing, but this track is better left in the dustbin of history, or perhaps with a large scratch across it on the record. Cold Rain and Snow is thankfully a much better song. It's a pretty standard blues folk song about a long-suffering man whose wife makes him walk out in the cold rain and snow. It's got a good boogie vibe to it, courtesy of organ, and it is another solid track. Sitting on Top of the World is a song with a breezy and carefree attitude. It's about a guy who feels like he's sitting on top of the world now he's broken up from his burdensome ex. Lots of great guitars on this one, and a good start and stop beat on the chorus. It's yet another solid album track. Cream Puff War is also pretty similar musically, albeit it does have a good guitar solo thrown in the mix. Most of the songs so far have been about the music more so than the lyrics, but here the lyrics are actually the highlight. It's an imagery-heavy song against the Vietnam War. It's both relevant to its own time, but vague enough to not sound dated. Kicking off side 2 is Morning Dew. This is a slower, more melancholy song that follows up on the anti-war theme. The lyrics are presented as a dialogue between a couple who have woken up in the aftermath of the nuclear war. Jerry Garcia gives a good vocal performance, maybe a little overwrought at times, but overall quite good. The backing is very much typical of the Dead. Once again, we have great guitar, great bass, great organ. New Minglewood Blues is a song from the point of view of a man on the run, spending most of his time sleeping around. It's a good, brash, upbeat blues track. It's another song with a great groove. The organ and bass line are particular highlights here. I'm starting to sound very repetitive when praising the backings, I'm quite aware. Grateful Dead just tend to be really consistent. They tend to really always play their songs great, you know. Viola Lee Blues is a song about a guy who is in jail for life. That's it. That's the song. I mean, I don't know if this is really the song from the album that should have been stretched out to 10 minutes, but still, being the longest song here, it is, kind of by default, the best delivered track. The instrumental part's arguably the best part of the whole album. As usual, the Dead commit themselves fully to the material, and it's got a great sound. The guitar solos are nice and bluesy. I also like the parts where the intensity picks up and it starts to go faster. There's some great interplay between the guitar and organ as well. It also gives a good impression of the Dead style. These longer jam songs are what they would become known for, and would be featured on almost all of their albums. This makes it a pretty good finale to the album, even if lyrically it is rather weak. So that's it for a song-by-song breakdown. I know I didn't have too much to say about some of the songs, but I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes there's songs I can say more about, sometimes there's songs I can say less about. A lot of these blues songs are very similar, but they're all well delivered. So, as for my scores on the songs, before I go on to talk about them as a whole, I give The Golden Road an 8 out of 10. Beat It On Down the Line a 6 out of 10. Good Morning, which I'm giving a 2 out of 10. I'm giving a single point for good delivery, but the song sucks, let's face it. Cold Rain and Snow, I'm giving a 6 out of 10. Sing on Top of the World, I'm giving a 6 out of 10. Cream Puff War, I'm giving a 7 out of 10. Morning Dew, I'm giving an 8 out of 10. It does have great lyrics. New Minglewood Blues, I'm giving a 6 out of 10. And Viola Lee Blues, I'm giving an 8 out of 10. So most of what's on this album isn't the Grateful Dead's best material. It would mostly be outclassed on subsequent releases. Even one of the bigger highlights of the album, Morning Dew, is better remembered for a later live version than it is for a studio rendition here. The album has one pretty major dud. I mean, I don't give 2 out of 10s that often. And that song is probably better off left unmentioned in any other conversation involving the band if you're not directly addressing this album right here. Still, despite the album's weaknesses, there are a lot of upsides too. The band is very tired already, and their playing is great. Pigpen's organ is also very prominent here, which is nice. Viola Lee Blues is a great example of the band's jam style, and The Golden Road is an enjoyable, singly sounding song. All the other tracks, while less remarkable in and of themselves, are still songs that are being performed by the Grateful Dead. The Dead always bring their A-game to every song they touch, and it's true of every track here, even the quite questionable one. The Grateful Dead have always been the musical embodiment of the phrase, no such thing as too much of a good thing. And this album is no exception. Sure, there are better Grateful Dead albums and songs, but at the time of release there weren't, and even today, these ones were still great performances by the band, just even more of them. When considering this album as both a solid one on its own terms, and as a more lackluster one within their greater discography, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's great, in and of itself. It's not great in their entire discography, but it is just like more of the Grateful Dead, and that's great, you know? So before I look at the album sleeve, I do want to just take a moment here to thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Also leave a comment. Those all help me out a lot. Help me reach a broader audience, so I really do appreciate it. So, as for the sleeve here, as you can see, it's very psychedelic, but it's also very cut and paste. It looks like the 60s equivalent of Photoshop. It's obviously not Photoshop, being from the time period it is, but it looks weird. It's not great. It looks very slapped together. And we've got multiple copies of some of the band members. We also got Jerry Garcia without a beard, which is always just feels wrong. His hat's kind of nice, I guess. But I don't know. The whole band also looks just kind of dopey on the cover. I do kind of like all this up here. All the kind of lettering now, the more drawn part. It's actually quite nice. I do kind of like that. But otherwise, it's pretty not great of an album cover, let's just say that. The back is slightly better. Black and white. It has more of a kind of a drawn logo, and it has kind of a more simple picture of them, kind of together, in black and white, and then like the negative, kind of flipped version. And it's got a track listing and everything. It's honestly, this could have been front cover, some variation of this, and probably would have been better. But it is what it is. If I went to a record store in 1967, I probably would not have bought this, because this looks rather slapped together. But still, it is a solid album, as I said, so yeah, I mean, that's about it from me here today. There's no printed line, or there's not really too much more to say about the packaging. Now, before I go, I do want to once again encourage you to like and subscribe. If you like this style of album review, please go check out my Patreon. I'm taking requests, so if you want to see me review your favorite album or just want to support me in some way, you should check that out. I'll have a link in the video description below. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, and have a great rest of your day.